I'm Judy Shaw for NYSE Floor Talk. Joining me today is Bill Meaney. He is President and CEO of Iron Mountain. Hi, Bill. It's great to see you.
Hi, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Now, quick note to our viewers, this interview is for informational purposes only. The NYSE doesn't recommend any investments or investment strategies. Now, Bill, 2021 is a milestone year for Iron Mountain. It's the 70th anniversary of the company. Tell me, what kind of company was Iron Mountain 70 years ago, and what kind of company is it now?
It's interesting. There's some ways that we're very similar to our roots 70 years ago, and obviously the company has grown and changed a lot since that time. But if you think back 70 years, the customers that were attracted to Iron Mountain were ones that the foundation was trust. And what we were storing is things that were either irreplaceable or documents that were super important to them. A lot of financial service companies from New York City wanted their documents stored in our underground facilities in upstate New York. And also art, which oddly enough, I'll mention later, but we've come full circle back to. But it was always about things that they just couldn't be without, either documentation or artifacts, or things that they would need in a disaster to recover their business.
All right, now tell me, how has Iron Mountain's growth over the years changed the landscape of your opportunities?
Well, as I said at the beginning, is that our customers really have led us through our whole history. So if I really think about the two blessings that we have as Iron Mountain, is that we have a set of customers that have been loyal with us for decades. We have less than 2% churn with our customer base, which means on average, our customers have been with us almost the whole length of time that Iron Mountain has existed. And the other side of it is that we have a business model that is highly profitable. So that allows us to continue to invest in new products and new services on behalf of those customers. So coming back to the customer side, is what started as a few banks in Manhattan that we were storing things that were really important for them in upstate New York has now grown to over 225,000 customers around the world in 56 countries. And that includes 950 of the Fortune 1000, or the 1,000 largest global companies. As I said, on average, these companies have been with us for 50 years with less than 2% churn. And given that, in the ability for us to continue to invest and grow in their services, is that we've been able to come up with new ways of storing their information, new ways to help them utilize that information in ways that they could either reduce their cost or find revenue opportunities for themselves, and new products that they can actually go to market with that we've actually created on their behalf.
Now, let's talk about your customers. Tell me, how have their needs changed?
I would kind of put it in two different categories: pre-COVID and post-COVID. In pre-COVID, we heard a lot about digital transformation. We heard a lot about this hybrid physical digital world. And as you can imagine, 70 years ago, what we stored and guarded for them and helped them recover from a disaster was almost entirely physical. And then as they've made that journey and they're living in that hybrid physical digital world, is more and more of the assets that we store are digital, including third-party data centers, or we actually host companies for their private cloud when they no longer want to run their own data center, but they want to put their servers and IT equipment in somebody else's data center. So the businesses have morphed as we've actually gone with them on that journey for their own digital transformation. And that business was growing at a very good rate. Then COVID happened. And two things happened in COVID. One, just coincidentally and luckily, we had set up a new global strategic accounts organization that was really focused on not just our largest customers, but customers that were interested in what we call the full breadth of the mountain, or our full range of services. And that was really our North Star. We said, what do they want? So luckily, we were prepared to listen to our customers differently, because in a COVID environment, all bets were off. In terms of what people thought was digital transformation before COVID was very different when people landed in COVID. On another way, though, I think that digital transformation journey got sharper in focus for not just us, but for our customers. And we were able to actually, in an agile way, come up with new products, new services, new way of working. A lot of it linked to a remote workforce, or workforce that had to be able to work from anywhere and to be able to collaborate from anywhere. And what that allowed us to do, even though I would say our services on the traditional physical side of the business obviously was impacted by COVID, because people weren't in the office to receive the ubiquitous, Iron Mountain box. On the other side, our digital services in a COVID environment where GDP had a massive decline grew at 8% year on year. And this year we are guiding to well over 10% growth in our digital services, which to us is still another COVID year, right? Because I think, vaccines are here, but it's going to take a while to recover. So the reason why I kind of put it in those two buckets is I think that all of us have really found out what the true meaning and definition of digital transformation was in COVID. And luckily, because we had our global strategic accounts, our salespeople, our solution architects were listening differently to our customers during that period.
Bill, this week you introduced a new brand. Tell me about that.
Well, thanks for asking. Is that, I've talked a lot about the customer being the North Star and the additional services that we've added as part of listening to the customer differently and really solving their problems rather than, just what we have in the bag, so to speak. And over time is the pyramid or the base of the mountain range has actually expanded. And that's the reason why, again, as I mentioned, that we have our global strategic account organization to actually deliver the full mountain to our customers. And because of the breadth of those services, we thought this was the right time to actually launch our new brand. And if you see it, it's not a single mountain anymore. It's actually a mountain range, which is really symbolic of the range of services we're providing the customers. And as I said, this has been a journey that we've been on for the last decade, but especially in the last 5 years. And just to give you kind of a quick data point on that, 5 years ago, the total addressable market for our products and services at Iron Mountain was $10 billion in sales, or a $10 billion market, I should say. And that was growing pretty much, low single digits. As we sit here today going into 2021, our total addressable market of the services and products that we have today to deliver to our customers exceeds $80 billion. So that's 8 times the size of the market, addressable market, than we had just 5 years ago. And those markets are growing low teens in terms of organic growth rate. So representative of that, that's quite a change for the company. It's quite a change in terms of the products and services in the ways that we can assist our customers. So we thought this was a great time to actually be very strategic and symbolic in terms of what Iron Mountain has become, not just during the 70 years, but especially over the last, say, 5 or 6 years.
All right, and finally, Bill, tell me, what's next for Iron Mountain?
What's really next for Iron Mountain is saying, what is it that our customers really need us to do? So we will continue to be the person that they want to store safely and securely their physical documents, but as well as their digital documents, as well as helping them classify that in a way that they have more metadata, more ways of indexing and searching that information, as well as at the end of its life, destroying it, whether it's a digital asset through secure IT asset destruction, or whether it's a physical asset, which is a box full of paper. In addition to that is what we found through that transformation that I said, especially during COVID, where people had to work from anywhere, is they needed a layer across their documents and their information, again, whether it was physical or digital. So if you think about it, all of our customers and virtually every company in the world is talking about their data lake. In reality, it's not a data lake. It's a series of data ponds. So one of the things that is really part of our future, which came in sharp focus during the COVID crisis, was how do we actually introduce our products and tools and software layers that we have developed over the last 5 or 6 years as a company to allow our customers to have that vertical access and visibility of all their information, whether it's physical or digital. And then where it makes sense is for them to get even more value out of it, to make faster loan decisions with better credit outcomes, et cetera. And then finally is our data center business, which is a relatively newcomer to Iron Mountain in the last 5 years, is growing at mid-teen digits, roughly 15+% a year organically, which is not surprising given the amount of speed that people are embracing the cloud in third-party data centers.
All right, Bill, it's been great to talk with you. Thank you for joining me on NYSE Floor Talk.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for having me.